What's going on? I'm excited for today's episode. We're going to answer some of the most frequent questions that we receive through social media and our own employees here at Height Farm, Green Mango, and Coconut.
One of the questions we often hear, we hear you're selling in 5 years. What does that mean for employees?
I never had a 5-year plan until 2020.
Yeah.
Because at that point we got this huge offer, like a multiple that I've never heard of even happening in the service industry. And that's the first time I thought of even selling. I thought Banks would run Green Mango one day,
yeah.
Banks and Hudson. And ever since that point, it's always been a goal. We decided not to sell a year later, but I learned what these PE firms look for in a company. And one of the things that was true to me is, or that stood out to me, was that all of them have a plan. Every private equity firm has a plan. They have a 3 to 5 year window to double, if not triple, that company and then sell it to the next firm that's higher above them. There's one of the podcasts I was listening to that explained a private equity firm in like as a triangle, right? So you have the minimum where they invest into companies that are doing $4 million in EBITDA. And that private equity firm that kind of starts out there, that minimum, will try and get it to 12 million. And then there's the bigger fish above that will take it from 12 million to like 20 million. And then from 20 million to 40 million. And it caps out about $200 million in EBITDA. But that's the progression. And so ever since then, it's like, it's no different than if you were like, hey, I want to run a marathon. Okay, well, I got to run 3 miles this week. I got to run 9 miles the next week. So for me, it's a business plan. And one thing that's been confusing, I think, for a lot of people is when I say like, hey, when I say I want to sell in 5 years, that doesn't mean like I'm out. That means I sell a portion of my equity. I stay involved in the company very heavily. They give you large bonuses and incentives to stay in the company, but I just pull a couple of chips. They call it chips off the table, right? You finally take some money out of the company, and then they come in and they help triple the company. And that's what's so cool about it. And that's, I think, the biggest frustration that I have when I hear, employees say like, do I need to look for another job? No, like the employees are almost more important than the customers. They need to make sure they have great management, great employees, great technicians, great everybody. And they're going to double down on you. And what's cool is as they double that company, if not triple it, more management opportunities are going to come. And they want the people that have been there that know the industry. It's the most important thing. So no, you don't need to be looking for another company. It's exciting. I think if you're working for a company that doesn't have a 5-year plan, like you should look for another company because like they don't know where they're going or what they want to do. You should have a company that's aggressive, that knows where they want to be in 5 years. I mean, I could go on that forever because like it's so important to have goals, and a 5-year plan for me is nothing but a goal to where I want to be.
What is a franchise, and why are you exploring franchising Coconut?
Yeah, very simply, a franchising opportunity in my opinion, allows a potential, let's say there's
entrepreneur.
An entrepreneur that says, hey, look, I know that I work hard. I know that I'm disciplined, but I want to accelerate how fast I succeed. I recently saw a quote that you're 86% more likely to have a successful and profitable business if you buy into a franchise. And so all it is that to be able to become a franchisor, you have to go through an SEC type audit to make sure that one, your finances are legit, your operations are legit, and your branding, your systems are all good enough for someone to come in and say, I really like this. I want to go plug and play wherever I live, whatever city I live in. I want to take this over there. And what's been super cool for Coconut is that we've seen 3 of our 4 franchises in the first year of running do over $600,000 in revenue.
And it took us 3 years.
3 years, okay? And so even if it's not for Coconut, the reason why you should look into franchising is that if the overall objective for you, unless you have some crazy idea, is to create passive income and live a life that you want to, be your own boss, franchising is the route because, one, it accelerates how fast you grow because there's brand recognition. The systems are tried and true, the operations, the pay, everything has already been tried and it has been tested and has given you the best opportunity for success. It doesn't guarantee success. However, it accelerates the opportunity for success. And I think it's even better when it's run by a company or, you know, founders that have worked really hard to give you something that they're really proud of. And I think that's what Coconut is. So I simply want people to have the opportunity to come look at what we do, go back to their respective cities in whatever state all throughout the U.S. and go take this brand and see how quickly it grows just because of what we've done over the last 6-7 years of trial and error. You now get to go and just run with it and succeed.
If you could tell your employees one thing that they will always remember, what would you say?
I liked my quote yesterday that I gave with all the managers, like life responds to effort. So you can get at, huh?
That's not his quote, by the way. I know,
well, not my,
sure.
like, well, not my quote.
Yeah.
No, but the quote that I shared with the management team
I
yesterday.
really like what I said yesterday.
The quote that I came up with and I invented, no one's ever said it before.
You got it from the Todd Peterson, Casey Baugh. That's from his
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love that. I love Todd, man. That's probably why I loved it. Anyways, thanks for cutting me off.
Just wanted to remind you it wasn't yours.
No, life, and that's what's great about life is that some people are okay with making whatever, whether it's $1 million, $500,000, $100,000, $50,000, like everyone's happy at their different stages, and it's all what you put into it. So if you want to, for us at Green Mango and Coconut, like if you want to double your commission rate, all you have to do is show up to our sales training. That's it. We just say, hey, come show up. And it's amazing how many people don't show up.
Yeah.
But like it's frustrating, but at the same time, they don't want it. Like they don't have any interest in selling or making more money. So that's up to them. But life responds to effort.
I love that. I won't be able to trump that. But what I would say is something that I'm trying to always perfect, and I'm not even close, is wherever you are, be there, right? Wherever your feet are, be there. And that is just the power of presence. And just if you're with your family, be with your family. If you're with, your employees, be with your employees. If you're with yourself, be with yourself. And most of all, like, stay curious, be okay failing, approach everything with an approach of I'm just here to learn, and growth is the name of the game. And as long as you get better day in, day out, I think you're going to live a really happy and fulfilling life.
How much do you spend on marketing, and why are you pulling back on the marketing budget?
Kate just poked her head through.
So we spend on average around 12% of our revenue on marketing. A lot of companies, if you're trying to take market share, will spend over 20%. Coconut's around 17 to 18%. We have right now decided to pull a little bit back on marketing at Green Mango, just because there's certain sources that aren't working as strongly as they have. And when you have your acquisition cost jumping up, doubling, if not tripling from what it's normally been, it's time to reassess and see where you're at. It might be a lead problem, might be a salesman problem. And so that's one of the things that we're looking at right now is the last thing you want to do if you have an inefficiency in a lead source or a salesman or a sales group is you want to keep putting more fuel on the fire. You got to figure out what's going on first and then go at it again. So we'll probably be spending even more money midsummer on different sources that help us hit our acquisition costs, and that's the name of the game.
Yeah, I love it. I don't think there's really much more to build on there. Just when I think of it, when people are like, "Oh, is this a good thing, bad thing, whatever?" The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And I think if you're not, to your point, what we were talking about off camera about getting the best results for the least amount of spend, like that's the name of the game in entrepreneurship is how can I continue to get this result, maintain it, and get better and decrease the amount that I'm putting into to get it. And this is simply an experiment we're doing.
Well, that's what we talked about the last podcast. I'm going to double down on is like, that's your job as an entrepreneur is to always be driving down everything, labor, any type of cogs that you have. You have, like, if you don't do that, you can only charge your customers so much. And I'm not going to say like we're at our peak, because we're not. We're still not the most expensive company, but we're probably top 5 now. So it's not like we can go jump up another 20, $30 a service and be okay with that.
Or
so
can
you
we?
have, huh?
I said, or can
Or
we?
can we? Maybe we will. No, but you got to keep driving everything down. You got to find new ways to save money, become more efficient. And a lot of that's utilizing technology and just being smart with the bandwidth and what people are capable of. That's why I'm a big believer of when you start a company, you should be wearing every single hat as that business owner so that you can understand every asset of your company.
Yeah, it's the same reason where, like, if you go to a dealership and you are looking at a 2024 truck and you somehow have the ability to look at what all the dealerships, if you could from an aerial view, say, where is this truck exactly in the same condition, same miles, in where is it available and who's offering it for the lowest amount? And that's what it is in marketing, is you have a historical number that you generally pay to acquire a customer, and it's your responsibility and marketing's responsibility to drive down the cost of acquiring that customer and also what you get from the customer. And so, just always challenging ourselves to say, hey, look, I just think that this is an area we haven't focused on, and rather than just pouring more fuel on the fire, let's see what our people can do with what we already do send their way.
What is your favorite part about work?
I just love that I have a routine and I love coming to work. Like, that's my biggest thing. Evan's like, I don't like work right now.
It's David. Hear me out. You think David Cope? Not David Cope. Michelangelo
David
sculpted the statue David. It's a 17-foot marble statue. David, Michelangelo, okay? It took him 3 or 4 years to sculpt it. And I've seen pictures of it. I haven't seen it in person, but like the reason why it's so famous is like the attention to detail in the fact that this guy approached a 20-foot block of marble that just was square, right? A rectangle. And he could see what he wanted to sculpt before the work was actually done. And think about like every little chip and every little detail that he had to put into it and making sure that he started in the right places. And for me, showing up to work is like, it's like this masterpiece of like having this idea of what your business can be, what the culture can be, what you can be, and how you can contribute to the business. And it's no one else sees it but you do. And all these little plays and all these little moves you do, you just kind of say,
what
hey.
What happens when an artist comes over and starts chipping at his piece?
when a 3D printer.
When you hire some interns to come in and I just can't.
But it's to your point though, when you're always like, hey, someone's always at my ankle trying to take away what I have. Like he worked on it for 3 or 4 years, right? And for me, showing up to work, it's like, what am I capable of, and what do I see that very few people else can see? And one day I want this thing to be some sculpture masterpiece where 6.5, almost 7 years ago, it was just, we want to clean carpet and we want to do a subscription. And now it's like, I want to be the most dominant national brand that when people think of anything related to, their living surfaces being clean, they think of Coconut. It's the most trusted brand in the industry. Like that's the marble statue that I see now.
And I think it just highlights the importance of sharing your vision, the 5-year plan of where we want to go. Because if he would have let other artists come in, like who knows what that would have turned out to be.
Offer their contribution.
But if he would have said, guys, this is the plan. Yeah. This is how we're going to get there. And this year we're going to accomplish this, this piece of it. Then they can start chipping away and helping you. And that's what business is. Yeah. And that's why, doubling down on the 5-year plan and having a goal and the communication, that's why is a big reason behind the why of this podcast is I hope our employees listen to this podcast so that they can catch our vision, because we don't have time to go, talk to every one of them. That was the biggest pain points for us, is like the telephone game. By the time, we relayed something, this message that got down to the new level employee, like who knows what he was hearing or being told, they can hear it from the horse's mouth here with us and our vision. And that's what's important about business.
Yeah. Love it.